Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to UroNurse. We meet every Saturday at 9 a.m. Central Time, and this is our New Year's Eve edition. So we're really pleased to be here for New Year's Eve. Looking at a great number of people who showed up for the show live. That's great. I'm really impressed on all of you guys wanting to join in. This is going to be a solo show, it looks like today. My other panelists have all had things going on today, which is great. I've always wondered what it'd be like to kind of run the show myself, just to kind of be like almost like a podcast situation. But anyway, we're going to have a great show. So today's going to be a little different format. We don't have an actual topic per se, a urology topic. However, I thought since this is the end of the year, it might be a good time to look back at what we've accomplished since the launch of the show. And as those of you that have not been around for the whole entire time, the show's first episode launched on August the 6th. And I thought I would start out by showing some clips. And we're going to show clips throughout the whole show of past shows, as well as talk about some new things. So it launched on August the 6th. And this is a little clip from our very first episode. You'll notice that I'm not on camera for the intro because I utilized a slideshow that I had pre-recorded for the introduction. Yeah, I was a little nervous. Surprise, surprise, right? Welcome to UroNurse. We meet live every Saturday at 9 a.m. Central Daylight Time. If you are watching this on YouTube, you can learn more about us by visiting our website at uronurse.com. Our first half hour will be devoted to general urology questions, and in our second half hour, we will take a deeper dive into a subject. Today's subject. So one of our past panelists I just saw pop up here, John Lynn is checking in, so that's great. We're always glad to have our great panelists join us, and I guess I won't find out what it's like to do a one-man show. That's okay by me too. It's always good to be able to bounce stuff off people. Hey, John, welcome. Not hearing your audio.
All right.
Now I do.
Unmuting may help.
Always. All right. So we're going to be sharing some clips. You'll enjoy some of these because you're in them. Some clips from the past year. And I've got this next one coming up here now. I showed the first clip, so you saw what that was like. This next clip is from our most recent episode. You'll probably notice that I'm not using a script now and I'm on the screen. I could tell you that I started to become live on the screen after the second episode. I went back and watched the first one and the recording just was not good. I think it's more fun to see somebody, but I will admit I continued to read a script for about the first 5 episodes. I held it up just underneath the camera and had the script so that I wouldn't goof things up. But as you'll see from the 21st episode, this is without a script. This is just me. Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to uronurse.com. If you're watching us on YouTube, great. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and like us. If you're here for the first time, then be sure to check us out on our website at uronurse.com to learn more about us and how you can join and become part of the program. We're real glad to see we've got some people here. I think I see people that have always been here before. And speaking of people coming in, I see more and more faces showing up. Lots of folks that have been with us for the whole program. This is going to be a party. I think I'm really surprised on the great show, but hopefully you're all going to enjoy this since you've been around for a lot of these episodes. Now I'm going to talk about my next thing, which is the panelist. So my original plan was to get a group of experts together to discuss topics. So what I did is I recruited 2 members from my Chicago Metro chapter to join me. This next clip is their introduction. It's also our very first clip. So of course you'll notice nobody's nervous at all on this clip. Hey everybody, welcome to our show. My name is Vic Sinise. I'm going to be the moderator, so I'll be reading off the questions. My experience in urology, I've been here a long time. I was past president of the Chicago Metro SUNA chapter, currently working as a board liaison with them. I'm also past president of SUNA and lectured many times for SUNA, actually planning on or am lecturing at the New Orleans meeting on technology. Hope that many of you that show up or watch it virtual. It's going to be pretty interesting. I've been in urology for most of my career, which is like 40 years now. I celebrated 40 years ago that I became a nurse. So that's my part. Lori, can you give us a little introduction about you?
Yeah, sure. My name is Lori Atkinson, and excuse me, I've been in urology for, sorry, I forgot my throat's early. I've been in urology for 24 years. I was certified in 2003 as a certified urology registered nurse. I'm currently working at Northwestern at Delmore in Geneva. And I'm excited that Vic got this together because I'm excited to share information with you all.
Thank you. Andrea, a little bit about yourself.
Hi, my name's Andrea Strong. I'm a nurse practitioner and I've been in practice for less than a year now, but I'm loving it. I've been a nurse since 2010, and most of that time I spent working in urology. I did inpatient night shift, I did outpatient, and I did the ambulatory float pool, which I loved. I'm certified as a urology nurse and happy to answer any of your questions.
So it was during our 5th episode that we were joined by our latest panelist to join us as a regular, and I've got a clip from that one. Hey, John, welcome.
Thank you.
For the audience that doesn't know who you are, which is probably most of us here, would you just give us a brief introduction?
My name is John Lynn. I am a urologist. I'm a sponge when it comes to information, and I really appreciate the opportunity to jump on, kind of unexpected.
Well, that was great, John. I got a question since I've got you on for the program. So what was it that actually drove you to become a part of this group?
Well, I think it's kind of like what you're doing is that you are paying it forward, and kind of like what I'm doing, what I've been doing in my own Facebook group. It's my way to pay it forward without the constraints of an infrastructure like a big society organization telling me what I can or cannot say and whom I cannot or cannot include. For instance, in one of the societies, there's a forum or listserv where you cannot talk about coding and billing because they sell that service as a side. So I don't want to be encumbered by any constraints, and I want to be able to share information freely as my way to pay it forward, because I've been so blessed and so lucky to be in urology. And I don't want to commit to a weekly thing that I host because, as you know, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work putting together the infrastructure, the program, and inviting guests and coordinating schedules. I do that occasionally, but I'm not willing to do the commitment. And when you are hosting, I figured this is a great way for me to jump on and share what little I know and pay it forward.
Well, I can tell you, you've been a great part of the show, and it's really been a great addition to have you as one of our experts. Again, the show doesn't work without the banter between experts talking to each other and discussing these many topics. I think it just offers something that we couldn't find anywhere else. And I really appreciate all you've done for the show and continue to do.
And I think it's really humbling because among us, I am probably the second least experienced when it comes to the field of urology. You have a lot more years of experience, and it's really interesting to hear your perspective from years past of how things were done and how we progress. And it's good to have that long time perspective.
Yeah, I always say that the legacy is one of the things you have to offer when you get to be my age. And actually, I keep trying to retire from my job, but they keep keeping me hanging around. And I know one of the reasons is legacy, because they always go back. How did we used to do this? Or who do we call for that? They like to just kind of have that legacy there, along with some of the things that I can offer.
Not only do they get to benefit from your experience, you are now with UroNurse able to leave a permanent legacy. So you are passing on this information for people coming after us.
Yeah, thank you. So we're going to move along here. This next clip is a compilation of my introductions for the first 21 episodes. If you watch closely, you'll notice how I changed my appearance and started wearing logo wear. You may also notice the microphone added and a better framing of my headshot. Welcome to UroNurse. All right, and welcome everyone. Hello everyone, and welcome to UroNurse. Hello everyone, and welcome to UroNurse. Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to UroNurse. Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to UroNurse. Hey, and good morning, everyone. Welcome to UroNurse. Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to UroNurse. Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to UroNurse. Hi, and welcome to UroNurse. Welcome to UroNurse. We meet every Saturday, and I do meet every Saturday, even when I'm on vacation. Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to UroNurse.com. So there it was over the past years from August 6th till today. Some of the changes might have noticed since we have a special edition. I went to the new backdrop.
I know.
Well, it's not the new one. I just turned it to the other side, give us a different look. But one thing I learned from watching the videos, my chair has a rocking feature, and I keep forgetting to lock that in. So a lot of adjustments at the beginning of the show. I got to watch what I do.
You know, so much of it is something that nobody notices or nobody cares, other than the geeks like us who are interested in AV production.
Yep. All right. So now I'm going to talk about backdrops and equipment. So you probably noticed that we all have our own backdrops. And I use the physical backdrop, as you can see there. Andrea likes to use a white wall, which I think looks great. And John likes the industrial look of his office. Again, different backdrops, but always very professional looking. Now, what you might not know is Zoom has its own virtual backdrops that can be added in during our second episode. Lori surprised me with her choice of a backdrop, and here's that clip. How did you think the program went last week, Lori?
Oh, I think it went great. My question to everybody is, how's the flow in the background?
For those that don't live in Illinois, that's not what Geneva, Illinois is.
No, it does not.
So as you can see now, Lori actually uses the blurred backdrop effect, which looks really nice, but it was kind of an interesting effect that she decided to use for the the Zoom. So I give her credit because, you know, Lori didn't have a lot of background in AV. And so the very first show, if you notice, was she shoots it from her bedroom, and you could just kind of see the backdrop of her bedroom. And by using a blurred effect, you can have that type of backdrop without having to, you know, spend the cost of producing something like this or having a devoted room like John does and like Andrea does. All right, so now we're going to do something interesting. I'm going to take and I thought it'd be fun to show you exactly how the sausage is made. So I'm going to give you a behind the scenes tour of my studio. So as you can see, this is what my office looks like before I start recording. I was lucky enough when we bought this house to have this nice room available. It has a sliding door that closes so that I can get soundproofing. First thing I need to do is pull all of these shades down. This is a new addition. I used to go out and staple moving mats to the front of the windows to block out the sun. It's amazing coming off the lake how much sunlight we can get into the office. It's almost like blinding. Next thing I need to do is block the window behind me with a backdrop. So rather than using a blurred black backdrop that's built into Zoom, I chose to use a regular backdrop. I happen to have this, so it wasn't like an added expense. I used to do some photography work, and I would shoot some pictures with the backdrop. So there you can see that's blocks the view, and that's what it looks like. That's what you see when I'm on camera. And finally, 3-point lighting. You need a left light, a right light, and a hair light. Those are the 3 lights that I use. Okay, so I've just switched over to a camera that I have that I can move. It's portable. And I'm going to show you exactly how the show is put together. This is, again, the behind the scenes. So you can kind of see here, this is the camera that I use. It's a Canon video camcorder. It's what's considered a prosumer unit. So it's between consumer and professional. What they do is they put the larger chip into the prosumer unit, so you get better quality, and you can see the size of the lens compared to the little lens that's on an actual computer. That's the little dot. If I was using that camera, and it's pretty good quality, but it's still not the same as using the better quality. So that camera, as I kind of scoot back here, you'll be able to see what I'm looking at. So that's my microphone. Again, high quality audio is always important. You're looking at the Zoom feed right down there. And over here, we have our computer that I drive all the slides with. It's an iPad. And this screen here is the interesting one. So this is try to get that frame better. The control panel from the ATEM Mini, which is what controls everything. So this little switcher is how I switch from one program to the other. And as you can see, if I switch it over to full screen, so that's when the slideshow is showing. And then I can do a fade to the camera, or I can do a quick cut between scenes, such as that. And then I go back to my full monitor. So it allows me to see what's on this camera, that iPad. That's our monitor. That's actually showing me what's going live to the audience. So I can see what's happening there. I can add another camera. There's actually a fifth way I can add media down here. So there's 5 different views I can switch between. And then over here, I can monitor my audio levels. And you can see between the green, yellow, and red. Red is distortion. You don't want that. Green is fine for music. That's where you want that to fall. And yellow should be where your dialogue falls in. So now I just need to switch off of this camera. That one I can't do through the video system. I have to do that through a new thing that Apple came up with, where you can make your camera suddenly become one of the cameras. So it was kind of cool. Now, one of the strongest elements is the ability to get guest speakers to take deep dives into urology subjects. And we've had some really great ones throughout the past year. And I thought I'd share some of those with you. So of course, Dr. Herb User gave office BPH procedures. Todd Thompson dealing with catheter issues. You know, I'd never met Todd before, even though he's a SUNA member, but one of the audience members had said, hey, this is a guy you need to get on board because he's really a great speaker and talks about catheters. So it was great to have him on board. Looking forward to maybe having him finish up, and he has some more to talk about. Shriva Kovella, I met at the SUNA meeting. She's a doctor of physical therapy, and she was giving a talk on a poster session, and I approached her and asked her if she'd speak. Kristen Baldia is a Chicago urologist who was giving a conference, speaking for one of our conferences, so she consented to have that put on. And then Amy Hall is one of our past presidents, and she spoke to us on pessaries. Now, of course, our regular panelists have also done some really great things. Andrea Strong has contributed a talk on telephone triage, the ins and outs of catheters, urology part 2, which was the second half of the ins and outs of catheter, and autonomic dysreflexia. Lori Atkinson has done 2 talks for us. One was on urodynamic testing, and the other one was on urinary tract infections. And this guy's done a few talks himself. The very first episode was on PSA. I spoke on office anesthesia, and the 3-part series on erectile dysfunction, and then urethral lidocaine. So the one thing I'd kind of point out is the thing that I thought of is when we do this, I wanted to do something different. Instead of having a 1-hour lecture where we try to just cover everything about a subject in small details, I thought, let's take a deep dive. We can break it. We got 52 episodes a year. We can break it down into shorter episodes where we can really concentrate. And that's why erectile dysfunction, I broke into 3 different episodes. And I think it's been working. I haven't heard any negatives from the audience. John, what did you think about that format?
No, I think it's great. I think anytime you can engage the audience, like the first half, you're just doing Q&A. I think anytime you can engage the audience makes it a lot better, because nobody wants to be lectured to. That's what happened when we were little by our parents. Nobody wants to be lectured to.
Yeah, that was actually my first thought is, especially as I get older, it was fun when I was young to travel the country and even somewhat the world. I got to go to different places as a speaker, but it's not as much fun to travel anymore. And airports are congested. The cost to go to these meetings gets to be astronomical. And I can't sit for an all-day session anymore. It's just too much on my back. So having another option, I think, really was one of the things that I was looking for myself. And I think the audience has also really enjoyed it. All right, so let's see. The other thing that was kind of interesting is my original plan was to have missing episodes when I was unavailable due to vacationing or attending conferences. However, it became clear that the program was becoming successful. I did not want to skip any episodes and mess with success. So 3 of the broadcasts were done remotely. I knew it could be done, but I just wasn't sure how well it could be done. And I think that it went off pretty good. So we had the conference that came in from New Orleans when I was lecturing at the conference, the live conference from the Chicago Metro SUNA meeting. And then my biggest accomplishment was trying to go ahead and do the broadcast from a cruise ship. And I can tell you that a cruise ship is not the best way to broadcast an episode. Without Elon Musk's satellite system, it wouldn't have been possible. I've cruised my wife made me look up the number of cruises we did. That last cruise was our 36th cruise. So I've done cruises before, and I've used the internet before, and it's sketchy at best. But this past one was it was on the borderline of good, but it was acceptable. Now, if you haven't seen that episode and you want to watch the video on demand, good news for you. I also reshot the episode with all the video clips done through through editing. So I've edited in the actual live ones, because that was one of the biggest problems I noticed was when I was trying to do video clips, they were choppy and not working so well. So the latest episode does include that. So it's worth checking out if you want to see how they do healthcare on a cruise ship. Go ahead and check that one out. Now, what some of you may not realize is the show actually starts at 8:30 a.m. for the panelist. So the one thing about the webinar format is it allows me to start a practice session so I can get people in to kind of get them lined up, comfortable, test out their system and everything, make sure we're going to be good. And that starts at 8:30 a.m. Well, I was working on getting a monitor for me to watch the live feed. So I opened up the feed at 8:45 one day. Normally I was opening up that feed for everybody right when it started. I was surprised to find out how many of you guys were showing up early. Now, I'm sure that some of you want to just make sure you got on okay. So there was a group that was there. And during that time, we do what we call hair and makeup. It's what we basically are doing is testing our microphones, making sure that they're working, the sound levels are good, making sure lighting looks good, and we're ready for the show. There's a lot of bantering that goes on between the panelists. We talk about everything. And so I threw it out to the attendees that were showing early and said, hey, would you like this to be a professional show where I just come on at the start of the show with the countdown? Or would you like to hear some of the crazy stuff we do in the beginning of the show? And I was surprised that people really wanted to see all that stuff. So it's a regular now. If you tune in at 8:45 a.m., you're going to see all of us getting ready for the show. You get a little bit of a touch behind the scenes. But for those of you who have not seen it, I got a clip.
Go ahead.
There you go. Sit up. There you go.
Yeah.
Sit up. Fill the frame so that we can see your face. Awesome.
Yes,
awesome. And tilt the camera down just a little bit. Get rid of all that space above you here. There we go. Nice.
So this is what we call hair and makeup time.
Yeah. Well, that's why I signed on early.
And I love the headset.
You want me to get rid of it?
No, I love it.
He means he loves it.
Oh,
yeah,
I love
okay.
it.
Highest quality.
Yeah, sounds good.
I still have my mic in front of me, but I really see how it blends into my shirt.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh, I actually didn't even realize you had a mic.
Yeah. So I agree with the high quality.
And
Lori's got hers in front of her
I
too.
do.
Now.
Can you hear me okay?
It's hitting.
Is it better?
No, it's good. It's hitting.
Okay.
I like the incognito.
Yeah, we did a cruise on the Mississippi that went out of New Orleans.
Fun.
That was kind of neat because it's going up a river. So, normally when you're on a cruise ship, all you see is a lot of water. We're going to start with Andrea's scary urology story.
Ooh, love it. I've got one, Vic.
All right, good. I thought you would. I was going to email everyone last night just to put everyone on their thinking caps on. I thought the Bulls were losing against San Antonio, and I was depressed. So
We had someone from Australia. Do we have
yeah, I don't I saw her register. I don't know if she's watching it live or not. I haven't noticed the name.
Okay. I was wondering
Yeah.
if we had any other countries or.
No other countries so far,
Okay.
just the US.
Okay.
Pretty much the whole continental US, but we are covering just the US.
It's a lot of traveling and too much all at once.
Yeah. Oh, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I do like the national conferences. I mean, not because they're just educational, but because you get so many credits and I need them for my certification. So,
Yep.
All right. Everything I forgot to do last time, I think I did this time. So if you like watching us get ready, tune in at 8:45 and you'll get to see what goes on behind the scenes when we're getting ourselves ready. I guess it is kind of interesting. I've had some great conversations, as you can see from those past things. One of the things I really have to have my hats off to having somebody like John as part of our show is when you're doing the show, you're thinking about, and he knows this from doing his own shows, you're thinking about a million things. And the last thing you remember are the little intricacies of what goes into making the show better. And he's was a big help in pointing out to, the space that's above your head shouldn't be there, that it's good to have room to show your hands and show your Italian heritage, that we speak with our hands a lot. The fact that the microphone should be at a 45-degree angle so that you're not popping your peas right into it. All these things make the show better. And John, I really appreciate all the time you spend to kind of help point those things out and help us with equipment.
Absolutely. It's been my pleasure. If you notice that one person who used the microphone that's built into her computer and how it was picking up all the reverb in her room, that loses credibility. When you sound like that, you immediately lose credibility. And when you have a show like this, which is commonly just listened to, or as George Lucas would say, the audio or the sound is 50% of the movie-going experience. So that's how important George Lucas places on sound. So I emphasize sound a lot. And also part of communication is with our hands. Like 7% of communication is based on the words, the actual words that we use. Everything else is either nonverbal and body language.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So now another crazy idea that I had was this thing called the after show. Originally, that's what I called it, and not too many people showed up. Andrea suggested that I should change the name to a party because people would show up for a party. So I did. I changed it to the after party. And this is where after the end of the show, attendees and panelists can just hang out and chat over a Zoom meeting. So different than the webinar, everybody's together. They can turn their mics on, their cameras on. Heck, we even helped one of our attendees pick out a car. And she was nice enough to send me a picture of the car that she chose.
Oh,
so everything happens at the after party. All bets are off. So that's it's been kind of cool to do the after party. It's continued. I've had it ever since the beginning, and people are really getting into it. So yeah, we'll keep doing the after party.
So what's so cool about the after party is you attend physical meetings. The person is lecturing up there. You're writing things down. You're thinking of things that may agree or disagree with the presenter, and then you have that bottled up. After the presenter gets off the podium, you want to approach the presenter and ask and query or contest some of the things that were said. What better opportunity to do that than at the after party? And this is kind of like the virtual version of the in-person event, where you can just kind of let your hair down and talk about things. It's unrecorded, and you can just talk about anything and everything, including how to buy a car.
Exactly. So if you want car advice, that's a good place to come. I did like the car that Susie's picked. All right. So now the big question is, what's next? What can happen in 2023? Well, we've got already a lot of good speakers lined up. Our next talk next January 7th is Diane Newman. Those of you that have been involved in SUNA all know Diane Newman very well. She's one of the most prolific speakers. She's highly involved in evidence-based practices, and she's got a lot of evidence that she wants to share with us on catheters. So she actually approached me and said, "Hey, Vic, I want to be a part of this show." So she did agree. Next week we'll have her on. Another one on January 14th, following that one, is going to be pediatric urology. You know, it's something that we don't see a lot of, and we don't have a lot of people that are involved in doing pediatric urology. But one of our attendees, Paula Wagner, who joined us in one of the after parties, said, "Hey, you know, I do pediatric urology if you're looking for someone to speak on it." And I said, "Absolutely." So she's going to give us a presentation. I think it's really nice to know there's a huge difference. I did a little bit of pediatrics myself early on. Not my favorite thing. I don't really like taking care of sick kids, even my own. I never cared for it, but it's something different that I think it's good to know about. And then following week, we have Anthony Sam. Anthony Sam's a malpractice attorney. He's a defense side, and he's going to talk to us about minimizing our risk of lawsuits by providing good patient care. And I've heard him speak on this before. He's a dynamic speaker, and I was lucky to twist his arm to agree to do this. As I think, you know, we kind of mentioned early on, you know, with John was saying, you know, this allows us to go outside. I hate that term, outside the box, but it really does. It allows us to do other things than just urology. You know, where we were showing off products at a meeting, where we're able to bring in a lawyer to talk about that side of it. And it's important. You know, the last place I think any of us want to be is, you know, in a courtroom defending ourselves. So it's good to have some professional advice. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Well, fortunately or unfortunately, most plaintiffs just want money, and most of the cases are settled outside of the jury type of a setup, a system. So understanding why someone would bring a claim is important, and also the underlying motives.
Absolutely. I think he's going to touch on some of that because he did speak to that before. I'd be interested to see what he does on, again, the deep dive format. So another thing is I thought it'd be interesting. Whoops, I got to change my slides here. Is just to kind of report on how are we doing. So as you know, what's happened over the past year. I get the analytics, but you guys don't. So I thought I'd share some of those with you. So you know that this is broadcast over Zoom. And for people that want to attend it on Zoom, all you folks that are on the attendee list there, that you have to go ahead and register ahead of time. Well, to date, we've had 109 of you registered as attendees. And that's really fantastic to have that many over the course of 5 months. I think more important is that, you know, you also have the option of canceling out at any time. So you're not locked in. If you decide you don't like this, it's not for you, go ahead and cancel. Well, how many people have canceled? None. That's pretty good. So even if you're not watching the show all the time, you enjoy getting the emails and finding out more about us. Now, I also simulcast this to YouTube, and I thought I'd share some of those statistics with you. So it goes to YouTube Live. A lot of folks are watching this on demand and I've had people send me emails thanking me for how much they enjoy the show, but the timing is not the best for them. So they're watching it on demand. I don't care. On demand is fine. But we actually have 53 subscribers, and you can see from that line that shows that we've had steady growth forward, that people are subscribing to the show. So if you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe so that our numbers keep growing. On demand. People are watching this thing on demand all the time. We've had 1,426 views. That means that many shows have been watched, not each show several times. So a lot of people are viewing this that are not showing up as Zoom attendees. So the online YouTube is working for us. We're glad to see it. And I think it's also lets us create a collection that you can watch video on demand. Our top 10 shows, I thought this was kind of cool. So the number one show was urodynamic testing. That was given by Lori Atkinson. The number two show, most views, was the PSA one. Now, of course, that was our first show. I think that might have something to do with it. Number three was the Urology 101, the ins and outs of catheter. That was Andrea Strong. Dealing with catheter issues was Todd Thompson's at number 4. Number 5 was the second half of Andrea's talk. Number 6 was the physical therapist talk from a pelvic floor with stress incontinence. Number 7 was urinary tract infections, another one by Lori Atkinson. Number 8 was erectile dysfunction, part 3. Number 9 was part 1 of it. And the 10th one was Dr. Herb User's talk about procedures in the urology office. So those were our top 10 shows. And it kind of shows that some of our regular panelists are pretty popular. So what are some of my goals going forward? You know, you don't want to keep things the same. It's always good to have some goals. And so this is what I'm thinking of looking forward. I'd like to explore some new options for software programs that maybe get away from the Zoom. Zoom is really great. It's probably one of the best low latency so that we can talk to each other, but it's not the only thing out there. They're very expensive to do webinar format, which is what we're using. I would like to try to improve our video quality, although it's not bad. It's coming through at 720p, but 1080p is getting to be more and more the standard. And they're even pushing the envelope on that with the YouTube. But there are some programs out there where I could go to up to 1080p. Again, Zoom offers it, but it's just cost prohibitive without having, enough sponsorship to cover that cost. I would like to have questions that from the audience appear on the screen. That would be a really neat thing to have. And so I'm looking at some of the ways that could be done. The email format that comes out to you guys, we're letting you know when the next program is, I think is good, but it's not the best. So I'm looking at some other programs. I may come up with another email program to give a little bit cleaner, prettier looking version of it. My big goal for 2023 is to convert this to a podcast. Podcast would be the audio only form of it. So there's lots of companies out there that offer podcasting. And every time I've created a video version of this, I get two files. I get the audio version and the video version. So I've got all the files. So now it's just a matter of my applying and getting the podcast accepted. But I think I've heard enough people say this would be kind of a neat thing if I could listen on my way to work, and having the audio version would be great. Marketing, of course, we need to always look at how we're getting the program out to you guys. So website improvements, if you've seen the website recently, I have done some updating it. I'm trying to take some ideas and making it more attractive. I originally just started listing all the episodes from the first to the last, but it means that the most recent one's on the bottom. So now I moved that up to the top and kind of made that the most recent episode a highlighted episode. Also, John's always with his good suggestions, said, hey, those thumbnails need to be catchier. I was going for information, but he said, if you look on YouTube, and I did some research, looked on YouTube to see what they're doing, and it's always the catchy scenes. So you'll notice that already if you see the website that I've started to upgrade the thumbnails, and trying to incorporate social media more. I'm not a big fan of Facebook, but I know it's the devil that you need to be part of. So I do have a Facebook page for the program, and I am starting to try to be more progressive with it. But again, it's always room for improvement. And lastly, I'd like to say thank you. I think that this has been a great experience. I wouldn't have been able to make all of this happen if it wasn't for the great help I've received from my panelists, my guest panelists, and you, the audience. This has been a great experience, and I'm having a blast doing it. They say online doesn't really allow for human contact, but I disagree. I've met many people that I never would have gotten to know without this program, such as John Lynn. Where else would you get to meet a urologist from Arizona when you live in Indiana? I feel like we are all becoming friends over the internet. My original goal was to share my urology knowledge with those coming up in urology. What I didn't expect, however, was how much I was going to actually learn from every program myself. I find that this is a really valuable learning tool for urology healthcare workers, and it helps healthcare workers to provide the best care to our patients. And in the end, that's really what matters the most. At this time, I would like to invite anyone who would like to say a few words about UroNurse to accept an invite I'm going to send you to join. So I'll move you over from where you're at now to the panelist side, where you can use your mic and camera, or mic and just your mic if you'd like. I don't record the after party. I think that that's something that should just be fun and not something that could be utilized later on social media to burn someone. But I would like to record any testimonials from the audience. So I want to make this a part of the program. I hope you will join us, and I'm going to send these invitations starting right now. So if you want to, you'll get an invite to come over as a panelist. If you don't have to accept it. If you would like to accept it, please feel free to join us.
Please accept and share your wisdom. And while you're doing that, I'm going to mention Charlene wrote, UroNurse has been so much fun. I did enjoy the cruise trip last week, have gone back to re-listen to the sessions, ease to access for us viewers. For me, urology, legacy, and continuity for our area in continuing our SUNA chapter in Central Illinois. Yes, the after party, there are always comments to share and great part of. And Paula said, I like the emails that remind me of the talk. I like the ease of getting on Zoom.
Wow, that's great. Thanks for reading those off for me. Charlie, I see you have accepted to come over. You could just turn your microphone on if you'd like to just say something about the show. We'd love to have it as part of the show. I guess Charlene hasn't figured out the unmute button.
Got it. Okay.
There you go.
This is the best thing I keep sharing with everyone here in Central Illinois. Best thing you do on a Saturday morning, you know, it's just put it with your other stuff you're doing. And that's why I'm here try to, but the ease of, if I miss, I can also get on later and watch, and I do. I wait till about Monday, and then I usually can access it then, because I know it takes a little bit to get it on, but thanks.
Well, you're welcome. And again, I was surprised, you know, whenever you have a show on a holiday, and I consider New Year's Eve a holiday, people got better things to do, I'm sure. And it's always impressive to see how many people actually showed up for the show. We had quite a few, a lot of good regular followers, and that's great. I appreciate that. I know there's a lot that are watching on demand, and I hope you enjoy this show. And I don't have much else to say. I think I've said it all. I think that it's been a great thing. I plan to continue it on as long as physically possible.
As with any live production recording, most of your viewers are going to be watching it on the replay. And I think that's why YouTube is so important. In addition, I think my Android phone did a recent update, or maybe YouTube did a recent update with the Android platform. I now can simply listen to YouTube without the video playing. I can literally have the phone screen turned off, and then I can still hear what is playing. So that is another way to enjoy YouTube.
Yeah. So that
if you don't mind, go ahead.
Without going to the podcast, you can create your own podcast, basically.
Yeah. But no, I think the podcast is a great idea. The listeners of the podcast just won't get the visuals that are sometimes so important.
Yeah. That's kind of what was always in the back of my head, is some of this you have to see, but a lot of it, the information is easy enough to just listen to. And I know personally, I listen to a lot of different podcasts in my car on the way to work, because it just kills that 1 hour drive a lot easier than if you're listening to nothing but news.
Yeah, no, I don't listen to the news. Everything, I think a lot of us, probably most of us, the majority of us at least, we are watching content OTT, over the top, meaning it's through some streaming platform and not from the radio in real time or watching something on the news. I like the ability to skip forward, 30 seconds or a minute and skip over the commercials. I even have a plugin on my Chrome that allows me to play back video at variable speeds, usually at 2x, 2.5x. So time is the only inelastic asset that we have.
Yes.
And if you don't mind, Vic, I would like to acknowledge Diane, Donna, Francis, Katie, Neil, Paula, Rebecca, Susie, and Teresa for watching and following us.
Yeah. Well, I hope everybody has a great and safe New Year's Eve. Remember, if you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink. Is that right? Yeah, something like that. But be safe. If you're going to spend it like I am, I just going to stay right around the neighborhood here. So unfortunately, the lake was really frozen solid with this last cold spell that we had here. So I could have walked across the lake to our party, but now the lake has started to defrost because it got cold. So I can't walk across it. So I will have to drive to my party, but no drinking.
Sounds good. And Vic, I was thinking, if you ever have to have a day of absence, or you have to miss out on this on this UroNurse, let me know, and I'd be happy to try to take on some of the burden. This is the behind the scenes look of my production live. It's the mixer, and like you, I have a Canon camera behind this teleprompter, and that's a Canon HFG 30, I believe. And this camera on the left side, this is an R800, and that's on a slider. And then let me switch back. The slider camera is over here over there.
Oh yeah.
It's moving back and forth.
John, you're scary.
So here's a big monitor where I can monitor the comments and then the attendees. And then that's my confidence monitor to see how I appear on your end. And just like you, I have 2 lights, and the hair light is over me. It's a small LED light that I've kind of shaped it down. And most importantly, audio. And a couple of monitors. This is OBS running over here, and UroNurse, so I can bring on like a screen share, if you will. So here I can switch over and share this screen, which is what I just showed you over there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think people that are, watching the show and enjoying the show don't realize what goes into this. And as John can probably attest, the cost of this equipment is it's gotten to the point where it's affordable for a one-man show to do it, but it's not cheap by no means. It's all this switching equipment, and to put on a good show, you need to have this kind of high quality equipment. Hey, Rebecca, I got your comment here. Walking across the frozen lake drunk doesn't sound like a great idea. I can't say that I plan to walk across the lake drunk, but if it was frozen, I would. It's perfectly safe, I guarantee. Katie Bortel sent in, excellent work from all. I think we learn in different ways and needs to be fun. Thank you all. Well, thank you for the comment, Katie. If anybody else has some final comments before I close the show down, again, I'm not going to open the after show this time because I was my mindset was to let people kind of make testimonials, whatever you're comfortable with. But anyway, we're not going to have the after show. I got to get ready for my my not walk across the lake. But anyway, if nobody has any comments, been a great time. Again, I enjoyed it. Look forward to seeing everybody next week for our next show. And John, I will take you up someday. I think it's going to hit that point where I may have a episode I can't bring in, and I certainly would be glad to have you host it because I know you could. It would be in good hands with you. So
I will certainly try to do my best.
Very good. Anyway, folks, have a safe and happy New Year's Eve, and we'll see you in 2023. Yikes!
Thank you, Vic, for doing what you do.
Thank you.